welcome to Poffles Creations. And this is the face behind the voice of Poffles Creations. I thought I would bring you into my resin lair and show you some fun things. This is where it all goes down. I started doing resin about 2 years ago, and I made a lot of projects and I had enormous fun with it. But I found, unfortunately for me, that I was allergic to it. And I gave it up for a little while in search of newer hobbies. But I really like resin, and I decided, surely I can do something to protect myself against the resin. So I went online and did a lot of research and found that I could basically dress myself up as a hazmat warrior. In order to do my favorite hobby. So that's what I did. So that's why I'm here. And I also thought that since I learned from various people how to do resin, most of it from YouTube, I decided maybe that's what I should do for people who know nothing about it, like I did when I started, and just try to teach you the fun you can have with it. And it really is fun. You can create all kinds of things. You can dump anything in it. But of course, first of all, you need some equipment. So the resin of my choice, after trying many different ones, was the Let's Resin resin. Reason? Top reason. This is 1-to-1. I know that whatever quantity I pour of A, I pour of B, right? Foolproof. If I had to mess around with stupid ratios, I'd screw it up for sure, because numbers for me, they don't get on. So this was why I chose this. Plus, it degasses itself pretty well, which means it gets rid of the bubbles. It's very fluid, and I just like it. It's so far my favorite resin, and that is what I use in all my projects. So in your resin adventures, you will also need mixing cups of all kinds. These are just mouthwash ones you can buy in the supermarket, so they're cheap. Little medicine mixing cups. You can get bigger ones. I have a few. Hang on. Like so. A lot of people use the silicone cups, but I find they're so tiny you can't get anything in it. These, although they are made of plastic, they are easy to clean. These, of course, sadly, all disposable. The other thing you will need, something to stir. Choices. When you've done all that, of course, you need molds. Now, some of my favorite molds, I keep them out all the time, like this, which I made into a chameleon jar, and little things like this, some of my favorites, little pots, heart-shaped box. I have various trays and boxes, and these, which are little pudding jars, which have become my favorite little things. So you're going to need some of those. And mostly they're not expensive. I buy most of my molds and my equipment from Amazon. Other things you might also find useful. Resin does not like to be cold. So part A and part B. Part A, in this particular instance with the Let's Resin resin, is the resin. Part A is the resin. Part B is the hardener. Now the hardener is thicker than the resin, and it likes to be a little bit warmer. So when you've got your A and B resin in here and you want to warm it up a little bit, one of these comes in very handy. Heat gun, and you can just use a few little blasts of it on there to warm up the resin. You'll also be using this when you put the resin in the mold. It helps to get out the bubbles. Bubbles are the bane of any resin maker's life, so this comes in handy. The other fun thing we will talk about, as I was saying, protection. These chappies here, as you will see, they are nitrile gloves, not rubber. And these are chemically resistant gloves. Being allergic to resin seemed like a good idea. So I have a pair of these underneath these, hoping that I don't get any, but they're pretty good. I mean, these are really thick. The other thing that's important is epoxy resin, although it is fun to play with. It is not fun to breathe in and will not do your lungs any good. Another note, I'm an asthmatic as well, so I have to be super careful. As I say, I look like a hazmat warrior when I'm sitting here doing my resin, and anybody that would see me would probably laugh. You might get a treat in a while. Other things you might need: some tools for moving the resin around, or for pushing things like stickers in place or flowers in place. Use these because they're made of silicone. The resin doesn't stick to them and they're nice and soft, so they won't scratch your molds. Little micro brushes, absolute godsend. These are good again for going around the outside, or if you get some foreign body in your resin, like a cat hair, you can use this to scoop it out. These are invaluable. Q-tips. And when you come to dome an item, which means you're just putting a clear layer of resin on top and you're pulling it out to the sides, these are by far the best. Toothpicks or cocktail sticks or whatever we want to call them. Something that you can measure your mica into your resin. These are little coffee spoons. They come in a bag of 500, so they'll go a long way. And various tweezers, again, for positioning or digging out things you don't want in the resin. Also, I find it very useful when I'm doing resin. I'm messy. Try and keep your area as clean as you can. That way you won't inadvertently dump your project in resin. Glitter gets everywhere. I like these because they have no oils in them, no aloe vera. They're just water, and I use them for everything. I go through hundreds of these. Again, not environmentally friendly because you can't recycle it, but they are the best. Not necessarily Pampers, but just water wipes. All the products that I use, I am not affiliated with any of these people. They haven't sponsored me. It's all my own money, my own choices. So I just buy what works for me. Something else that's useful, these silicone mats. Again, I think they come in a pack of 3. They come in a set. Very cheap, essential, because if you put your project on here and you're pouring resin or you've got glitter, you can just wipe it off very easily with this because the resin doesn't stick to this. Where I work on this blue mat, it's not level, not at all. So I invested my money in one of these tables. They have like a level bullseye in the middle. And I just put the silicone mat on because despite what manufacturer says, resin does stick to this. So put a silicone mat on there so you don't scrape your tray. But this is a level surface and I know that's level. Nothing more annoying than putting your heart and soul into a project. You think fabulous, only to come down and find it's it's not funny, it's soul destroying. So invest if you can in a level surface if you don't have one. But if you're lucky enough to have a level surface, good for you. The fun thing about resin is you can put absolutely anything in it. You could put in holographic stickers, these kinds of things, they're like vinyl. Temporary body tattoos. You can put in foils, glitters, little charms, various things like this, flowers. You can also, there's an array of things that you can use to colour resin too. You've got mica powders, obvious. You've got alcohol ink that you can use. I've never used it, but I believe there's also pastes that you can use. So many things out there that you can just go crazy. And I know all this seems rather overwhelming. It's like, oh, it's going to cost me a buttload of money. But to begin with, you won't need all these things. First of all, find out, before investing a lot, your basics, like your resin, some tools, mats, a few molds. And when you buy mica powder or glitter, I suggest you go and find sets of things. That way, you might only get a small quantity of it, but you'll get lots of colours and you'll be able to decide, do I want mica powders? Do I want glitter? Do I want alcohol ink? So you can choose what you want to put in your resin, go for sets, that you're not doing separate pots. So all the filming is done just using iPhones, and I am most fortunate in having an IT guy, unpaid, who is my hubby. Say hello, hubby.
Hello, hubby.
So I am the merch maker and he is the director, producer, not the person in charge, but they might think so. I'm fortunate in having that. I don't have to take care of any of that. But at some point, I would like to learn how to use Final Cut Pro, if I'm allowed to mention them. Again, not affiliated. So this introductory video and any projects that I make on YouTube will always have a supplies list. So don't go, oh my God, she's using that, I don't know what it is. There will be a supplies list, so don't panic, okay? So if you haven't been scared off, this introduction will be the precursor to the first thing I make, which will be this mold, this jar. It's like a geometric jar. It's got a lid, jar or pot, whatever you call it. And it's going to be made with Let's Resin chameleon powders, which are fun. And I hope you enjoy it. This is my first endeavour. I hope it entertains, if nothing else. Well, thanks for tuning in to Poffles Creations. See you on the other side.